Hello and welcome to our D&D miniature painting and making stream here on Dice and Dungeons. Today is a big day. We are doing a bunch of dungeon tiles today. And here comes Lexi. What we're making today will be dungeon tiles for our D&D stream, which is on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. We 3D print. All of these are cells, and if you're interested in the designs, they're on our website, diceanddungeons.com, under the attributions page. But this is the first step in their second step in their production. Step 1 is printing. Step 2 is fabricating them all together like this. And then it's on to priming and painting after that. So these will probably be dominating a number of streams for a while. Lexi's coming down to help us because it's a particularly big job today. And what I am doing is we have these little bases here. These are sort of the basis for the entire set. In this case, we're starting with these central floor pieces, and they will be glued on top like this with some epoxy to create this sort of dungeon tile that can be used modularly once it's all painted up. And what I am doing is taking these little magnet balls, which I'm being very careful not to drop because it will cascade, and carefully placing them inside each of these holes. The end result of which is, if I grab a tile over here, here's a piece from our sewer set that we have used on show. These are also on those bases and have those magnets in them so that when they're on a map, they want to stick together like that. It's not a super tight hold, but it's enough to keep everything in place, especially when it's in a big grid together. Makes them very useful. I'm going to set these down before I cause a magnet explosion. We're going to be starting today with our center floor tiles. These are tiles that can just sit in the middle of a room, have no walls on them. They're sort of the quickest and simplest ones to assemble, so we're doing those first in order to sort of make some space and get ready for other parts, including wall pieces, and we think we have like pillars, inner corners, outer corners, doorways, all sorts of fun, exciting pieces, but you got to get some of the basic stuff through first. My dad here.
I'm going to be mixing batches of epoxy. It's 5-minute epoxy, sets up pretty quickly. So I'll be generally making about enough to use up before it sets. And then on we go. I think we get about between 6 and 8 of these out of each batch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be disappearing over here in the corner.
So
mixing stinky epoxy stuff.
Lexi, you get your choice of task.
Okay.
You can keep putting magnets in bases like I'm doing. You can, when epoxy is placed on those tiles, you can put them on and move them over to our prepared area carefully and then make sure they're straight. Or we can take a break from magnet putting in, and you can do either getting them adhered or straightening on the metal table.
I think I am gonna work with Dad and put them together here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to want that little piece of paper towel.
All right.
We have some isopropyl alcohol to help clean
And you will
epoxy off of your fingers.
Alcohol under there.
Okay.
Because that's what you'll use to clean off your fingers, which you will need to do.
Periodically.
Because
epoxy is sticky and gooey.
It will just get on your fingers no matter what you do.
All right. Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing is that it's not like super glue, where if you get it on your fingers and you touch your fingers to each other, then you just lost a finger.
Then you're doing this forever.
You're giving strong opinions.
Mm-hmm. And if you want, one thing you can do for Dad is carefully slide a base over without getting near. Just supply the parts to him and everything.
Okay.
It will slide a little when you move it over to the back table, so it's better to do. You can try and get your best there, but when you get over there, just make sure it's sitting on straight. And since it's a metal table, the magnets will actually help keep them stable and not move them around too much, because they will adhere downwards. It's a very large production line day. And that's what you gotta be careful of, is escapee magnets.
And those magnets are particularly hard to get.
Yes, they are difficult to find and purchase, but luckily we have a little stockpile squirreled away for this sort of project.
Very careful setting of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to sort of walk a fine line between maximizing space and not getting them so close to each other they're gonna pull each other around until it's set. It's kind of an awkward dance.
Yes, it is.
I think I can get one more out of this batch.
Okay. We will see if we get through even the floors today, since there are many central floors. Yeah. I'm just sliding bases down fairly carefully in order to make more space and make them more accessible. Ugh. Nice mix of alcohol and epoxy smell.
Oh, and pine wood. That's from me.
Yes, you were cutting out trees right before this.
Yeah, I was cutting down some fallen trees. I always feel weirdly a little sad about putting all these magnets in these trays.
Does he like to play with them?
No, because all of the magnet sets that we end up getting that are the most plentiful, largest batches, best value,
No.
are multicolored.
Yeah,
Like
the colors are gorgeous.
And they're really pretty. They're just a gorgeous thing. And you can make really like pretty little things out of it. I have one little design upstairs that I keep around
Yeah, because you like it.
because I really like it. But then we seal them all away for eternity in here, you know?
Inside the little plastic tomb.
And they're all these beautiful multicolored things.
Oh, we're drying.
I think I got them okay.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
We have them on some paper in case of a little epoxy leakage, but they're just drying over there. And we'll be periodically pulling some away as they're harden up so that we can make room for more, because we have a lot of bases, but we also have a ton of floors. Is this really how many floors there are in your set?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, there's a lot of... And the reason there's so many is because I learned over time, as I've been designing sets for the show, piecing them together, coming up with the patterns, that the best approach for making these sets is to get a whole bunch of...
Hey, hi. Bone shooter / bone
Oh,
shooter.
hey! Yeah, good to see you again.
We saw you this morning, yeah.
So I design these sets, and I make them very large and very complex.
So you can vary them.
So that I have lots of options to make new sets later on and design new things, and I don't have to print up new tiles, because when we first started doing this, that was a problem.
So we've been, what we're doing here, as a little recap, is we are building dungeon tiles. I'm putting magnet...
That happens.
Grab a new one. I'm putting magnet... Yes, he's down there. He's our glue man today, working all the epoxy. I'm currently putting magnets in all these bases, and Lexi is attaching the dungeon tiles
Buckyballs on the floor somewhere.
on top.
Okay.
So this is for a huge D&D set that we'll be painting later once they're all in. There's a little careful work putting all these magnets in, because they do like to pull each other out if you're not.
Yeah, you jostle and just
Careful.
bounce all over.
But yes, he's hiding at the end of the table.
You can see his hands working down here.
Behind the alcohol.
Not that alcohol, unfortunately.
Isopropyl
Not the
alcohol.
fun kind.
No.
The stinky kind.
I don't know, I think having epoxy-free hands is pretty fun. So we have a big production line going today, and this is is it the cut stone dungeon that we're making?
Yes, this is a cut stone dungeon tile from Open Forge, and
Exactly, yeah. The old guys have to look out for each other.
they do. And the people behind Open Forge, mostly he goes by Devin Jones, do amazing work.
So the nice part is once these are all together, they'll be all magnetized, and you can modularly create the dungeon on the fly, and they'll sort of hold themselves together. You know, it's not the tightest joining, but it's easier to move them around than like a mechanical joint, which is an option, but it tends to make a more permanent sort of hold.
Yeah, if you wanted to make a really permanent set,
Like the bridge over there.
which I can see. I'll go grab the bridge real quick.
So we used mechanical holds and glue on this bridge that Lexi's bringing around. This large bridge. It was printed in a whole bunch of pieces that we glued and locked together with mechanical parts, and then painted the whole big thing to create. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's fun to have terrain pieces like that. You know, it'll go well with our river tiles we made. So, yeah. And we are... Do you want to do, after we get through all of these, are you going to want to do what? Corners or walls next?
Probably walls.
To clear space.
The walls are taking up
a lot of room.
A lot of room.
So once I get through these last couple bases I have over here, I need to grab some more. But I'll show everyone what the walls look like. And this is clearly all unpainted, but I think they'll look really, really good when we're all the way through with them.
Yeah, the sort of theme for this one is like a well-kept castle, keep.
Yeah. Maybe even like a dungeon, like a, prison, like a jail. Medieval jail or something.
Yeah, this is just like a very official sort of fort-looking thing.
Yeah. One that's not crumbling and falling apart necessarily.
Yeah, we have the more worn-away, lost dungeon kind of stuff
that we've made previously.
Which is always useful.
In D&D. You're always delving into dark, crumbling ruins for some reason.
Mostly Tolkien. That's
right.
Most of the reason.
Mine's more. So I need to grab some more pieces, but...
Yeah.
So once we get through all these floors, the next piece we're going to be is these 3 pieces. You have like a 1.5 wide floor, and then you glue a wall on, and you have a side wall. Once it's all primed and painted, it will look really nice. I need to grab more bases. I'm coming around behind you.
Okay. Doing a little quality control back here.
Make sure everything's straight.
Nope, just had an explosion there. As I reached over.
This is quite the production line. Alright, so those are fixings. Ooh, yeah, okay. That was an explosion.
Yeah, definitely an explosion.
So now I'm going to repair some of the magnet work that I did. I like to try and have a number made ahead of time, but the danger is if they get close, they'll pull each other out. So, I have a little stockpile here, and then we're going to move them over a little bit at a time to the glue area, where there's a lot more movement. Because I have stacks of these.
Yeah, you actually got all the rest over there.
Yep. I'm not sure if we have enough bases to go all the way through all these even. There's so many center floors.
Yeah, I can show folks the very rough design. And it's an imperfect count. But that is the rough design here. We're making. There's actually 4 fairly large rooms, 2 large hallways, and then 2 little hallways.
Yes, it is very fancy. This is about, what, 4 or 5 times bigger than any set we've made? Single set?
It's about twice the size of the large
Red dungeon.
town set
Okay.
that we made. So we had another set design that was
The town.
done in that kind of style, and it was a big manor home.
Yeah.
And that was fairly large. That was a fairly large piece, but this is about 2.5 times larger than that one.
Yeah. So, just a lot of magneting. But once we get through these, we will be able to start priming and painting them, which is nice. And get a better sense of exactly how many more we need. Because we have, like, how many are about 10, so there's about 35 more floors. And hey, if we get through all of our bases here, we can go back to painting something, I suppose.
What do you think this is, a painting stone?
Well, I did put in the title, it's painting and gluing today. Because I knew this was coming. Alright. I'm trying to sort of get both speed and not screwing it up simultaneously, so I can keep up the pace, because you're slowly eating into my stockpile.
And if no one has ever mixed together quick epoxy, sometimes called 5-minute epoxy or instant epoxy, it's incredibly technical, very, very challenging. You use very advanced scientific instruments, a toothpick. There.
You're off
Yeah.
screen.
Off screen.
You use one of these. You use a toothpick
And some paper.
You can use little spatulas.
and sometimes some paper, maybe a disposable pie tin.
Cup.
The kind of stuff that you'd find at CERN is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you try to make 2 blobs,
Roughly
equal volume.
And I hate the smell of that epoxy hardener. That's why I'm over on the far side from where it is.
Yeah, it's really, really not good. And the shorter setting times, the shorter curing times stink more than
Yeah, if we were using like 1 hour epoxy or 10-hour epoxy or something,
it wouldn't smell quite as
it wouldn't smell quite as bad, but it's a stronger hardener, which is the main difference between different setting times on epoxy, is the strength of the hardener.
There's some pretty good reasons why you might want a slower setting epoxy. Like you want to have an opportunity to mess around with it a little bit.
Hi.
Yeah, sometimes the longer,
You're fine.
maybe sometimes the longer curing times set up a little stronger.
Yeah.
I've never found that this doesn't fail very often.
we're doing big old dungeon tile building today.
Yeah, that cut stone set we've been printing for quite a while now. We have been accumulating a stockpile, and we're putting it together today.
I'm putting in magnets inside these holes, and they are gluing the dungeon floor onto the top of it. And we will soon have a whole bunch of them. Oh, nice. We're all being creative and making things today.
It's an artsy day.
Yeah.
It feels like an artsy day outside where we are.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's kind of cool.
Overcast, but not raining today. And it's been feeling got a lot of creative energy.
Mm-hmm. So I'm doing the extremely fun job of putting magnets into...
You still got some? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably need to break open a new box of magnets soon, but I'm getting through what we have open already.
Well, let's face it, every one of these is a fun job.
These new ones have a new color. These are the magnet boxes I was talking about off screen right now, but
just be careful.
Yeah, these have black ones.
Ooh,
and brown
sorry.
ones. They're new.
Alright, sounds good. Yeah. Oops. I'm trying to go quick because I have stacks of bases just off screen here to get through. And it doesn't really hurt, but prying them apart from each other makes your nail a little sore, I find, after a while.
When you're done with that one, I'm gonna work behind you and drop these off of the print beds.
Yep. We are trying to continue printing.
Because we still need more. This set is the set that never ends.
Cute.
There's a whole storyline in our Halloween special.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up at the end of the month that deals with mannequins.
Yeah. We are, for everyone who is watching, that's a good time to promote. We are doing a Halloween special on Halloween weekend. It's a two-parter on Saturday and Sunday of Halloween.
Yep, October 30th and the 31st.
We're going to have some promotional stuff put out soon for it. And we are running a giveaway for the Halloween special. Do you want to go grab one of the dice cups?
Yeah.
We are giving away, we have a nice sponsor who provided us with some dice cups, and we're going to be giving one of those away for a Halloween special. Do we have a special keyword?
Yeah, Hawthorne Manor, which is the name
Of the special?
of our special. The haunt at Hawthorne Manor. So, if you follow us on
Twitch. Here on Twitch.
here on Twitch, and then send us a DM, Hawthorne Manor, you'll be entered into the giveaway to get one of these.
I think there are some restrictions for legal purposes.
Yeah, you must be a U.S. resident and 18 or older to enter.
Yeah, you don't need to be a citizen. You just need a U.S. mailing address.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't mail it to you.
Yeah, you get into other countries, and there's all sorts of rules and regulations and laws you have to comply with. It's very challenging.
Yeah, that way works. With or without. I think it's without the E, but honestly, we'll know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about spelling, as long as I know what you're saying. We're good to go. And on the bottom of it, so this cup, it's all banded wood, which is really cool. It's got our logo printed on it. the inside and on the bottom. I love this. It's like a little hidden. Oh, boom, there it is.
Well, D20.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love these things.
And you can pretty much enter anytime, but we'll be announcing the winner on Halloween.
Yeah, the Halloween special is pre-recorded because there's a whole lot of editing. This is a very technical production. This is not our usual content. It's a lot darker, a lot more grim, scary. There's more mature stuff in there. And content warning for everybody who has epilepsy or is sensitive to bright lights. There's some flashing lights
in the opening sequence.
Our opening credits. And we'll put out a warning on that when we release it all.
Yeah.
Which will be just a little more than a week and a half. Yeah. It's next Saturday and Sunday, 30th and 31st. All right. Before you start mixing those together, we need to clear a little space over here because we're out of room on the table.
Yeah, the ones that we first did should be pretty close to hardened enough to move. As to where you can move them,
That is a question.
That is a question for you to solve.
I'm gonna set them on the shelf over here.
All right, sounds good.
And why don't you tell them about the sponsor who made that cup for us, the Goods Merchant?
Oh, yes, our sponsor who made that cup that has disappeared is the Goods Merchant. They are on Etsy. They have a store on Etsy that you can check out. Do you know the URL? Is it just the Goods Merchant?
If you search the Goods Merchant on Etsy, it will come up.
And they make all sorts of stuff, including they made our DM screen.
Yeah.
Everything like that. So, if you're interested in D&D paraphernalia, go to Etsy and search for the Goods Merchant. And you can find them. They're really good. Okay.
He's a super cool dude who makes them. He's worked with us to make custom stuff a few times now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really awesome things that you can order that aren't just dice trays and things.
Yeah, he makes other...
He actually has some cool new terrain tiles.
Yeah. Like wood ones, right?
Yeah, and they snap together to make cool dungeon terrain. I'm going to switch these over.
Mix.
Okay, now we are set. We have some room over there.
Alright, getting tired.
You want to swamp with me?
No, I'm alright. Oh, awesome. Well, I hope they come check us out. Thank you for recommending
Yeah, we
us.
appreciate that.
All recommendations from people are like the best thing that anyone can do for a channel like this. Getting more people to check us out.
Last week's episode, I had a lot of fun running.
I am through that last batch of magnets, so I'm moving on. Yeah.
You guys
with
met the voice.
He was awful. So, hopefully, in the not too distant future, though, we'll be seeing this dungeon set we're putting together on our stream. as pieces get made.
Oh, wow. You used some of the black ones for the first time? It's so weird because I'm used to all these multicolors, and I thought it was empty at first because they just disappear into it.
We actually had black in the last set.
Did we?
Yep. I just went through them first because they were on top.
I hadn't seen them put in there. And if anyone's wondering why we use black filament, it's the cheapest and most readily available.
Also, it doesn't, it doesn't show too much on camera in terms of like with we had some free ones that were like bright blue, and we had to sort of paint over them to hide it, because it's just so bright. Hey, we're almost through the floors. Look at that.
Yeah.
We're gonna start walls next, which are twice as complicated.
We got 3 more floors, including the one I'm putting on now. And then we can move on to wall. Okay, 1.
And we're gonna use. Do you want to switch to the airbrush primer for these, Dan?
Oh yeah, considering
save,
the volume of them.
Volume, yeah.
When you're
The
priming...
spray can primer is really convenient, but it's very expensive
Yes.
for what you get.
Whereas a nice airbrush primer, it requires a little more setup. It's less it's less convenient. You can't just grab. Phone call on stream. Wow.
I gotta take this call. I'll be back.
I'm going to pause magnet putting in so I can take over what Lexi was doing. Alright. Looks like we're on to walls. Now the main thing with the walls is this has a 1.5 piece, so you want to have it so the wall and the half tile are combined. You want to make sure you're not putting it this way, or else it can mess up. I'll have to check it out once we're through here. So we get a piece like that. Ooh, that's a lot.
And you go back and check it in a little while to make sure the wall is still vertical and didn't slump over.
Why don't you wait on mixing up more?
I am waiting.
Until she is back, because we have a third of our crew missing. But nice dungeon tiles, and those will slot really well with all the other. So, these are some of our first pieces that are about as dry as they're gonna get, hardened as much as they'll get. So, you'll see they sort of pull themselves together, and you can create a large dungeon floor. These will probably all be painted a nice gray color. I don't know what order Lexi put these on, so. When she is back, we will keep. I wouldn't pull too many more over because I don't know how many bases.
Yeah.
We could start counting bases and actually get a the exact number that we're gonna be doing today. We have 12 here, 17, and
There's 4 more back here.
We have 25 bases, 26, 27, 28, 29 more bases to go through. So that means we'll need 29 floors. And 8.
So just if you're curious, when they're printed, they come out like this. There's that flat spot underneath, and then you break that off. That's just trash now. The exciting part of breaking off that bit, which mostly comes off clean, and then you've got, yeah.
Alright, so that should be all the floors that we can do. And we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 walls. 16, 21, 22, 24, 27, 28, and 29. So that is all that we have bases for. All of these walls here. Oops. All right.
And I'm back.
Welcome back. How was your phone call?
Oh, good. Just a bit of business had to wrap up.
So,
I'm gonna move this out of your way.
I don't know what all is dry, but you'll probably want to start making more room while we continue production. Our mass production. And then I think if we get through all of these, maybe we'll... I mean, I might go back to painting the towers that we've been building.
Yeah, and you know, we've been talking a little bit on the stream about maybe opening up an Etsy store for some of these. I'd like to get some people's opinions on the tower, because it's an interesting piece.
Well, we had a small fault here.
Ah.
So that will get fixed while we out glue.
It's an interesting piece, but it's a little bit challenging in some ways, and there's some things about the design that are very easy to work with, and other parts that are
Would you want to grab the tower that's upstairs?
Yeah, I can go grab that. Well,
Well,
mixing that together.
Hold on. I think some of the magnets flew out.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Occupational hazard.
Here.
So these are the towers. They're currently in 2 pieces here, and this gets glued in like that to create a bandit guard tower. And there's ladders that run inside.
So I think they're really cool and interesting. In the world of 3D printing, it is hard to make pieces like that because of the verticality and of the nature of how prints work.
You have to get to work on some of those glue bases. Yep. Got some escaping magnets. Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't have more escaping magnets.
Oh, we're getting more skilled at it.
Running out of room over there?
Not quite yet. I have some room.
The walls get a little complicated to make sure they're on vertically straight, because you know you don't want your walls tipping forwards and backwards.
Yeah, it takes me a minute longer to set these things up over there.
Yeah. Careful. Just moving some of these over to give Dad some space.
Right, there's that.
Alright. On to my last little stack of bases. And then I'll help you, Lexi. There are a lot of little magnets gone through here. Alright. There's my last stack. Oh. Add on escapee. Getting towards the end and I'm like losing my patience and going a little too quickly, leading to some problems. Because they're small magnets, but they're not like that weak. They actually have some good grip to them. So fingers start to tense up, get a little sore, just pulling them off each other over and over and over.
Yeah, the magnets are a neodymium magnet.
Which means neodymium.
And they are for their size especially, quite a strong magnet. Boy, we were debating earlier this week, what do we want to do with today's show? What do we want to stream? I'm glad we decided on gluing. because gluing much more than we're gluing now would have been really a bit of a challenge.
You mean in terms of space?
Yeah. Yeah, just moving things around.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, the ones up there that have been on for well over 5 minutes, you can probably actually stack them.
Mm-hmm.
It should be well safe to do so. If you need to buy some space. Alright. Down to my last 3. Took quite a bit to get here. But we're nearing the end.
Yeah.
And then we just have to print a ton more bases. But what we're eating away at is a lot of the central core parts. And then a lot of the stuff we'll be able to do later is all the like fun little interesting bits like corners, arches, doorways, columns, things like that. Right?
Exactly.
And those will be a lot less in number than these. But these make up sort of the core of the set. So it's important to just get through.
Sorry, I got one piece that just bugged me a little bit.
Okay.
It's not perfect, but that'll do.
That's the last one of our bases. So what I'm going to do quick is put all the extra magnets away, because I don't want them bumping into everything and creating a huge problem. Do you want me to start stacking?
No, start assembling.
Okay.
Yeah. These are always tricky.
Since we're on trickier parts, what I'm doing is I'm going to set these over here, pre-assembled for you, Lexi, and then you can move them over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we bought a bulk amount of magnets in preparation for this. We actually have 2 more of those large boxes. Because we use these dungeon tiles on our show, so we need an ever-increasing number of dungeon tiles to match. It looks like, counting that one, there's 5 more.
Okay.
So you can...
Yeah, I could have gotten a couple more out of that last batch, but it's getting pretty sad.
That does sound nice. Alright. And I counted correctly. I have 5 more of each piece.
Good. He's working with numbers.
Mm-hmm. They're not super visible in back, especially with Lexi standing there, but we have a large pile. Yep, it's Friday today. At least here in our time zone, it's Friday. I don't know. I'm bad with time zones.
I think it's around Australia where the 24-hour dateline hits.
Yeah.
So it's like same time, just the next day.
Over in like
Something
the
like that.
Pacific.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And that's the last one over there. Good job gluing. 5 batches.
No,
No, there's a whole other sheet that got moved.
9 batches.
9 batches of epoxy. But, end result. I'm gonna just grab a couple of these.
There we are.
We have stacks of dungeon tiles. These are the dry ones, so they're the center floor. And what that means is you can drop them together like so and create your dungeon. It's pretty nice. So these all get primed, and we will be painting them at some point here, probably in like a gray, you think?
Yeah, we've done
Red and
the red dungeon tiles, which are red because of a specific type of stone that exists in the world, and that's where the dungeon is originally. So the first one we did is set in that region.
mm-hmm.
And then these are going to be more standard, kind of typical gray stone pieces.
So I guess we can actually do some. Oh, do you still have a little epoxy down?
Yeah. Yeah, there's still a little bit left.
This part got
Broken off.
Yep.
Then there's the sewer tiles that you guys have been doing these nails for.
Yes, we could put those together if you wanted.
Since you have the epoxy out.
And the nails.
So this is just part of our superstructure for the tower that we're sort of developing. Set that over there. Okay.
Yep.
So, what do you want to do? Work on tower painting, or do you want to put the sewer tiles together?
Well, I'm probably gonna back out and give you guys some room to actually paint and do things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a little crowded to paint with 3. But it helps to have someone moving with all the epoxy.
Well, if you want to assemble the sewer tiles, we could do that with you.
I think, since I'm down here already, why don't we put the sewer tiles together?
So, what we're talking about, is we'll get all the pieces in frame here.
So this is the sewer tile set. So these are supposed to be sluice ways. So you can see the water kind of runs down here, in the center, and these are designed to be like under a city. And one of the things that you find in sewers is occasionally a grate. So you take a couple pieces like this, and these are special. It's a little hard to see at that distance. I'm going to move it up here closer. You can see there's actually little holes running along the base of these tiles and on the top there and there. So you take this bar, it's pretty simple, not very fancy, and you lay it across the top, and this bar is just 3D printed
Slide
as well.
it over slightly.
Yep. Let's see if this works.
Once I get this out.
So at the end, it'll look like this, at a bar, and what you do is you slide little project nails like this
Right.
down into those holes, and these project nails have been painted. Won't focus on the nail. They have been painted to look a little rusted. And if you happen to have rusted project nails, then you're good to go. You already have that work done. You don't have to paint them. And they make little bars for the sewer. And these pieces all get held together and glued to a single set.
Unfortunately.
There you go. That's an example of what one bar looks like. And the effect is really cool when you see it all played out.
So what we'll need to do is get nails in through all the bars.
Okay.
We have a box of nails.
No, I'm cutting. They come like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's why I'm cutting them.
I see.
So the nails to fit this, the only
From a
ones,
nail gun.
the only ones we could get are from a nail gun. They're a sheet. Here's a little more up close. So you have to sort of pry them apart. We didn't do that on purpose, so to speak. It was just the only thing that was available when we were placing an order. We couldn't get the usual project nails that we like to use. So
We
these will
were
suffice.
hoping to get the panel nails, but the panel nails only come up to 1 5/8, and they're too short.
So what we need is longer nails that fit through the holes, like so. So when you're putting them through, don't put them through the end ones.
Okay.
Because those sit here.
Gotcha.
So
And what we'll need to do is cut off the tops.
maybe.
Well, yeah, they're going to be different heights along the top.
So here we are making a sewer bar.
We're playing with nails.
Plastic and nails.
Those
panel nails are not there.
I was grabbing from that little pile over there, and they're not the same. And I didn't notice.
Some of the older ones.
We'll just take these away. No one plays with them anymore.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
I
Dad.
was enjoying my nails.
Alright. So, what this ends up is they will slide into all of the holes. This will be a slightly complicated gluing process, but you want to line them all up individually with each hole. No, you had it and I messed it up. And you end up with Discord's pretty funny.
There.
So we have, how many nails do we need? Each one takes 1, 2, 3, 6, 12. I think 12 more nails. But before we get to gluing these in, we're going to actually want to glue the tiles together. so they don't move around, but creating this really nice effect. Did we have a nail escapee?
Mm-hmm.
He's over there playing with a razor and nails. It's super dangerous.
Wow. On the internet. The most dangerous place you can do it. Yeah, I've been stealing all the nails.
You have been.
So, this is the last one I need, so the rest are yours.
How many more do you need?
6.
Now, the sort of tricky thing about these pieces is that they are, once they're all together, that's one piece. So it's not like all of the other tiles. It's much larger. It's a little less modular. So you have to kind of work with them. And that's why we have different styles. So this one would have like a corner piece going right here that could go somewhere else. That's why they make all these different,
one more.
like one end and then
That's
this
it.
angle and so on.
Great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue together the 4 different configurations we have. And that's so you can do like corner, like Lexi was saying. This isn't a good example, but you know, lock them in sort of corner chunks, things like that. Like maybe there's a grate here, but it opens out into a room, for example. So what I need to do is remove the upper bar from this piece,
I'm going to make a little room over here.
because we're going to be gluing some sets together.
I'm going to
Get more glue.
mix epoxy and stick it on things where they show me, and hopefully that'll work.
And I think the best place to join these for the most consistency will be on the base here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a mechanical hold involved with this because of this piece up top. We'll be mechanically holding them together as well. So, you know, you don't have to go too heavy on the glue for these 4 pieces. But yeah, little sewer grates.
Right. If you decide you don't want the bars that shiny,
We can put some umber wash on the bars afterwards, or just probably actually brown paint.
mm-hmm.
You know, hold a little better on the metal, and give them sort of a rusted look. When I first painted these, I knew we were going to be doing bars, so in the holes, I put a little brown around each hole in order to create sort of that rust effect.
You don't need any epoxy in those little holes, do you?
No.
They all hold together.
It shouldn't.
I'm just going to put
Along the
on
bases.
this one.
Okay, that works.
I'm going to do it on here in case it leaks a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting ready to receive the glue. Do I have a space? Yep, I made a. Just make sure they're forwards and backwards.
Yep.
From the move. And you only need to do it, you don't need to go that side, only on this one. Because these are half walls.
Hmm.
So only along the side with the holes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're variable, there's a little variation in each, where the glue goes on each. So these are half wall sections rather than full wall sections. So we don't need glue in the sections where there won't be any wall. Alright. Here you go, Lexi. Can you take that together?
Yeah.
It's got the glue going. Alright, so for this one, on this side, one half, on this side, whole. It's very complicated. Yeah, moving things to USBs is always fun. We do a lot of it here.
Every time we record a show, every time we make new prints.
Here you go, Lexi. And then this last one is the opposite. So, full on the front side facing you, half on the side facing away. And then we'll just need a touch of glue when we put these in for the top bars.
Yep.
So do you want those glued now?
Once those are dry enough to handle.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have to
Yep.
let them be.
You need anything else epoxy?
Yeah, we
Because
have-
I got a bunch here. Fingers.
Anything you want stuck together?
Okay. We'll just let that sit.
Unfortunately, I think not.
No, I don't think we have anything to glue together. We could try putting the USS Enterprise model we have together
Really
quick.
really fast, yeah. Within the,
That-
the,
you know,
the
that
minute
could-
and a half we have left.
That
before
could
this
be a
sets up.
whole thing that doesn't. I have never seen this.
Rapid
It's
model making.
Speed running model building.
Speed running models.
If people speed run Minecraft, they speed run Ocarina of Time, they speed run lots of games.
And you can
Why not speed run model building?
and you can start
Why
each
not?
one like, "Hello viewers, today we're ruining a Spitfire."
Mhm.
Exactly. And it's great because models, they're standardized, just like a game.
Uh-huh.
It's all the same stuff. See who can put it together the fastest and the best, meaning the least worst.
You have to have like a threshold where like, okay, you have to, if you hit this amount of time, you know, that's worth so many points, and then this
Yeah,
amount
I
of
like
quality
this.
is worth so many points.
Yeah, I like that. And it emphasizes speed over everything
Yeah,
else.
like you get more points for speed than you do quality.
Yeah.
But quality is a factor. So if you can put it together well, you get some bonus.
Yeah, it's weighted unfairly to favor crappiness. Just get it together. I'd watch that.
I know you would.
I'd watch that. You could do
We have 5 minutes to put together this, like, I don't know, B-52 bomber, right?
I think I would have a lot of fun with that. Now you could do it a little less glue intensively.
Do like the clip ones.
Well, you could do Lego, speed build Lego sets.
Mm-hmm.
Like an actual set.
Yeah, like an
with,
actual set, and you know, you can't have looked at the instructions before. You can't
So you
have,
don't know.
have seen anything. You can't even see what the set is. You know, for a real competitive thing, someone has to pick it out for you, set it down, and then you're just like, go as fast as you can.
So while we're waiting for glue, this is a dungeon with a wall section. You get a whole bunch of those painted together, and you have a cool dungeon set. Since they're dry enough to handle.
It'll look a lot better when it's
Painted.
painted and not
Yeah, when
just-
it's all black and shiny. It's not very
Yeah.
exciting.
The high gloss, black filament, not the most exciting.
Yeah. And after they're primed, they'll still be black because that's what you've got.
Oh yeah, it is. Wait, are we out of the gray primer?
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
That's been hard to get and it's expensive.
Okay. These are dried enough to start.
Okay.
She wants just little dabs in the slots.
It's just
there.
going to be a little dab inside these slots up top.
Mhm.
Here, I'm going to do it. So there's little slots on top of this. And inside those slots, we'll put a little dab of the epoxy. And then it'll be mostly about getting all of the nails inside the holes and locked in. But yeah, then you'll have this big single piece. It'll be very fun.
Okay.
And I
can
stand
just put
ready
them all
with
here
these.
and I'll Right, just bring them all over.
And just be a little gentle with them because they're still a little. That one slid a little.
But if you notice, but in the center, we actually used epoxy to make it look like there's water dribbling through the center of the sewer tile.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to bump into Lexi.
No, you can go here because I'm done.
Okay. The epoxy in that is set.
It's a very awkward process.
Getting the holes or the nails to all line up.
Because they have to sort of slide in at the same time in order for the whole bar to go down and in.
Yeah, some of those are really quite tight because the bar printed a little bit wider than the gap.
Yeah, in 3D printing, one of the things that you can design until the cows come home is making sure that your design has all the right measurements to it. That doesn't really mean that it's always going to fit perfectly when it prints, because 3D printers are imperfect devices, and you're going to have some variance in each print, little millimeter things.
And those nails work done, okay?
Yeah, unless of course you buy some of the really high-end stuff,
Which we can't afford.
which, I mean, it's not really viable. We're talking the hyper accurate down to micrometer levels. They're thousands of dollars each. And it's just not, yeah, it's not worth it. Not for this kind of scale of production.
Make your adjustments as needed.
Yeah. If we'd had those in one of the earlier episodes, we could have reenacted our failure to ever break through a set of bars, which we tried to do maybe 6 or 8 times.
Here is a finished piece, which will look really good when it's all put together.
Yeah, those nails work pretty well.
We nailed it.
Oh. No. I didn't like that. Hey.
That's exciting.
Cleaning up my hands. Get a little epoxy bit off them. These came out well. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna angle these a little bit so y'all can see them.
You want me to grab some of the sewer tiles so you can show off what it looks like?
Yeah, why don't you grab a few?
Wheel off the floor?
Who steps on nails anyway? Move this down. All right, so I'm going to throw this together real quick. And we should probably have like a straight sluice piece.
Yeah, but they're all buried.
Oh, are they all buried?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
We need better storage.
We do. So I'm throwing this together kind of real quick because we didn't grab all the pieces to fully demonstrate. But that's kind of how it goes together. So that we got to print some of these little pieces here. There's some one tile pieces like that you can make.
Or you can do.
Or you can do that.
I think that's more the intention.
You can do either.
Oh, okay.
They have little 1-inch long ones, so you can have it like that. We haven't printed any of them because there hasn't been a need to this point. But that's how this all fits together. We have some little one pieces that go there. And this all slides in like that. So that's sort of a partial set build.
Very exciting.
Yeah, this is great. I'm very excited to finally have these
Built.
put together. Trying to be careful to not upset the epoxy.
It should be mostly okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna swap these over.
We'll set these off to the side to let them finish curing.
You next, Neil?
Not really. All right. Get that off the table. Okay, so that leaves us with, I think, all the gluing done.
Yeah, we got a half hour left.
Half hour. Do a little painting on our
Two towers.
Our two towers.
All right. I'll leave you guys to painting then.
All right.
That was fun. See you guys later.
Got some,
Would you grab us a cup of... Or is Dad getting water?
I think he's getting some water. Well, he's doing that real quick. If you have any opinions about these pieces, there's some stuff that I really like. The verticality, it's pretty interesting. It's actually a fairly simple set. But there's a couple of things that I don't know how I'd feel about selling. So along the edges here, you can sort of see from
There's
the gray...
a little gapping.
It's a little gap that goes together. So they're not like perfectly sealed. And it's just sort of the nature of 3D printing. And if anyone's watching who's like, yeah, actually I'd love to buy one of those if you guys ever wanted to sell them, let us know. Because it's one of those pieces that I think is really interesting. It's sort of rare to find within a lot of the dungeon tile sets and communities that are out there, is real vertical pieces like this. But there's a couple things that are imperfect due to the nature of 3D printing. Yeah, so have fun painting. I'm gonna go finish up some other things. I got
half an hour or so.
Yeah.
So I'm working on, for this piece, the red-brown, which is the darker part of the wood here.
Yep. The part that I painted on mine. And I'll be working on the buff color, which is what Nichole had done first.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be filling in all these little triangles. Yay. Painting all the little zigzag.
So after a day of gluing, we will relax with a little set painting. And probably in our off time this weekend, we will be doing a whole lot of priming of set pieces.
Yeah, I'll be pulling the airbrush out and using big bottles of black primer. Now, we'll see if I made a mistake in doing the outside first before the inside.
Hmm. I'm just trying to avoid creating future things I need to fix by being a little careful with how I'm applying this paint. The less spots I mess up, the better. But I want to get the underside of this wood that butts up against the buff paint section. So, get a little paint on my finger. So this is just creating that division line between the two types of wood used in this tower to create this sort of effect along here. And then most of this will be getting a nice umber wash after we are to bring out sort of the textures and the different like elevations in this piece. So I'm starting with the detail work, and then there's sections I'm going to be able to use a larger brush for, like the legs and everything. And once we have all of the base coat on, which is what I'm doing now, we can also do a little detailing, like putting a little wood on like the different color on the like end caps of the wood if we want, things like that. Create some just different looks. But this will be a really useful sort of piece that you can have in any sort of battlefield terrain. Add a bit of verticality to any combat. There's a lot of little, just back and forth, make sure it's all covered and not hold on to the parts that you don't want painted. How is your section going?
Yeah, it's going okay.
My dad and I approach a lot of painting in a directly opposite sort of way. So there's not really a right or wrong approach. Just whatever you feel most comfortable doing. Okay. And this could serve well as like a bandit tower or a guard post or pretty much anything. It's nice that it's fairly generic so that you can have multiple uses for it in a D&D campaign. You could even do something interesting like put it on a water mat and have it be like part of a floating city, or you know, all sorts of interesting little things. It's one of the things I like most about D&D is that you can do almost anything because it's so imagination driven and everything, but you know, building little models like this just gives you a little extra bit of excitement at the table, and it helps people visualize, especially in a combat. If you want to adhere to the stricter parts of the rules about like combat and movement and stuff, it helps a lot to have a visual representation, even if it's just a whiteboard that you've drawn on. Any little bit can help a lot in making sure everyone's on the same page. Or even just some paper and a pencil. Because sometimes I'm sure these larger sets can be a little intimidating. But for ages, we just played with a little dry erase grid. And we would just draw like the rocks and buildings and stuff right onto it. I guess it was a wet erase grid, but...
And then sometimes you use permanent.
Accidentally and ruin it. Yeah, that happens. So this is giving a little better idea of where we're going with this as I'm filling in this little bit of brown here. That's the sort of look we're ending up with, and that will get washed, so it'll be a little more rough and dirty looking than it currently is.
And if you're wondering about this, it's basically ending up looking the same.
We're just approaching it from different directions. I like to do the lower parts in the figure first, and Dad likes to do the higher parts in the figure first. And it's really a whatever works for you. There's not really a correct way. Oops. Unless you let your hand slip, and now I have to create a spot to fix later.
I've done a couple of those.
But that's what the cleanup section. I like to sort of divide every model I make into little sections in my head. You know, you start once it's primed. Priming would be the first step. But once you have it primed, I like to then take the step of base coat, try and get everything roughly where it should be color-wise. And then once you get through the base coat, I like to do a cleanup phase, which can take almost no time or a ton of time, depending on what you did during your first base coat section. And that's just going over the model a little bit at a time and making sure spots like this spot here where I slipped a little, it's barely visible, but there's a little spot of brown where I don't want it. So I'm gonna have to go back over with the lighter buff color and clean that up after I get everything else done. Color-wise, get all of this brown on. Pretty much everywhere you see gray is getting this red-brown on it. And then once everything is cleaned up to the point of being happy with it, that's when I like to do the finishing step, which is often, you know, little detail bits like the green poison on the stinger of a scorpion, or also things like shading and washing are also parts of the sort of finishing step. And that's where you get to do a lot of the little finicky detail work that can be fun or tear your hair out, you know. It varies quite a bit depending on the figure and what you're doing. But having a really well prepared, clean base of everything that you want in the right spot, all the right colors in the right spot, just does wonders for the detail section, I find. Because you're not having to fix some of the stuff that's making up the core of the model while trying to do detail at the same time. continuing to plug away at this for the next 20 minutes or so. And then we'll need to figure out what we're doing for dinner.
Not to argue about which delivery we're using, right? I don't think anyone's cooking tonight.
No, I think tonight is a break from cooking night.
Usually when we do this, it uses up a fair amount of what would have been cooking time.
Mm-hmm. After all that frenzy of gluing and activity, just sort of taking a moment to be quiet and focus and zone out a little. Kinda nice.
Yeah, that was our most physically involved show, I think, ever.
There was a lot of running around. So I'm mostly trying to work out one side to give a good sense to myself and everyone else what the end product's gonna sort of look like. A little morale boosting. Rather than try and get all of the worst parts done, the little zigzags on all sides. So,
it'll look like that.
Yeah, they're broadly similar, which is good.
Because that's what they are, the same.
Mm-hmm. I will get the underside last, I think, so I can let everything else dry and handle it fairly safely. So that's where we're going. I guess since we're at 4:45 local time, I'm gonna start working on another zigzag. And what I'm gonna do is get the top part of the zigzag all painted in across. And then I'll go down the sides a little carefully.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the plank part here.
Oh,
See that?
Yeah, I did that in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just to give a little visual interest, there's this buff part that is done on the lower plank, is what that's talking about there. It is a nice break from to be doing scenery again after a whole bunch of detailed horses. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Although I've got like half a horse to do yet.
Yes, you still have a little bit of a horse left. The dulcet tones of the 3D printer and back. Gross, I got paint all over my hand from a little wet section. It's gonna take some soap and water to clear. And yes, we are being quiet. Sorry to anyone watching. We just sort of ended up focusing in on
little triangles.
little zigzaggy triangles.
Yeah, these basically are really simple, except when we decided to do zigzag triangles in different colors. That suddenly increased the painting time by fivefold.
But all in all, not so bad compared to like a complex figure. It's just a little repetitive. The painting.
Yeah. And then you go, I gotta come back and touch that up.
Mm-hmm.
Why did my brush go there? Of course, with these, you could always get the, I'll just throw a bunch of wash on it, nothing will show.
Hmm.
Oh, when you make a mistake.
Oh. It could. Maybe not show. That's the problem, is you're never 100% sure.
Right.
So there's a lot of cleanup, but I'm getting along on the second side here. And by cleanup, I mean I have a lot more detailing to do, where I'm just getting the general line in, and then I have to go along the edges and make sure they're all complete, because it's on a little rough right now. So I need to go along the side of each of these zigzags, top and bottom, and just make sure there's not a little bit the buff showing, basically. And being careful not to handle the parts of the model that are still wet while I do so. I think we'll probably end the show once I'm through with these zigzags on this side. We got the bulk of what we wanted done today, which was all of that gluing. And there was a lot of it.
Yeah, we didn't really count, did we? We must have been about 70.
Probably closer to 100 pieces. Full tile pieces. Of the walls that we did, there are over 29 of just the walls.
Mm-hmm.
all that I have left for what I want to do today is the underside of the zigzags.
Just the wrong angle.
Alright, and now I'm gonna just quickly go along the top of this bar and call it there. Alright, I am gonna end here. I have about half of this piece done, I'd say. Closing in on half in terms of getting the base layer in, the basic colors. After I get through all that, it'll be a cleanup process, and what I'm gonna do now is a cleanup process on my hands because they are all covered in paint right now, and a little glue and just generally a mess. And I don't really want to eat any of the paint tonight, so I'll be doing that. And are you?
I just need to finish this plank here.
Going through that little plank, and then we'll be done.
Yep.
Just giving this brush a nice little clean. Alright. So, this will take a minute to dry. And then next time, if we're not gluing more, maybe we'll get through the other half and we'll have the bottom of a tower all painted. But we got a lot done. We got a bunch of tiles glued together. We got the sewer grates, sewer bars put on.
Yeah, that was a nice thing to do. Those look really good.
We'll eventually paint these ladders, which sit like that inside the figure, these towers. We left them unglued so that you can pull them in and out as needed with what's going on in the game. And it looks like you got that in.
Yeah, and it looks,
it's mostly there. Just a little cleanup.
Yeah, little touches of cleanup. There's a lot of texture in this, and so the paint doesn't always cover right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you everyone who showed up. We're gonna be logging off now, but please check out our regular stream Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this Halloween weekend, please check out our Halloween special and keep an eye out for our giveaway. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.